Alright, we're going to do the body of a sugar pot with a lid, or it could be a teapot with a lid. It's going to be kind of a bulbous form. This is about 1.5 pounds, 2 pounds. So we're going to center it, lift it up, and then after all of that, we'll end up forming it. And the really important part here is how to make a flange, and then I'm going to make a quick video about lids. So we're almost centered. I'm going to bring it up one more time. And even this out a little bit more. And then karate chopping down one last time. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and open this up. So my left thumb is pushing down. My right hand is helping it out. Again, leaving about 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch down here at the bottom so I can have a nice foot. Pulling straight back at 6 o'clock. Nice, even, consistent. To make sure that I don't get any cracks in here, I'm just going to run my thumb and push down with about 50% pressure. So that's just compressing those clay particles. It also helps me get a nice level floor. So I'm going to go ahead and pull the wall. I'm going to slow it down just a little bit for this step. So giving it a pinch, pushing it up. I'm keeping it kind of in a cone shape. So you can see how it comes in just a little bit. What's really important about that is I'm going to need a lidded form, so I don't want this to get too wide. So it's going to be really helpful if when I'm pulling, I keep pulling in. So I'm going to do that one more time. Picking up the wall, pulling it up. So at this point at the top, my left hand is below my right hand, so I can push this clay up my finger. So it'd be something like this. Pushing that left hand. Finger. Okay, so I've made it a little bit smaller. I probably have just one more pull, so I'm going to shape it. I'm going to make it a little bit more bulbous and then bring it back up. It's much easier when you're throwing a series of teapots or pots with lids to try to get the same distance here every time. So it's really helpful if you have something like a tape measure to see how wide this is. So right now this is about 2.5 inches. It's probably a little small. So I'm going to aim for 3 inches. Can you use your sponge real quick? Thanks. So there's also a lot of water in here, so I'm going to get that water out now. And so one more pull here. So I'm pushing out with my left hand. Now my right hand is pushing back in, meeting in the middle. And then doing a final shaping. It's still a little uneven, so if I go back, I'm not really pulling it at all, I'm just kind of shaping it slightly, getting a really nice round form. If we go back and measure this again, now we're at like 2 inches and 3/4. So we're gonna drop the flange in here. Now you could just keep this, that would be fine, and then you would insert your lid and it would kind of hang out and over. If you want something that's a little bit more steady, what's going to be helpful is to drop a flange. So my left fingers here are going to help support the shoulder of the pot. So my left finger's right about there. My right finger, I'm going to go ahead and start slowly pushing down. So the left finger supports, the right finger is pushing. I want to make sure that this kind of platform here is nice and level. And I also don't want this edge here too rounded, so I'm going to take my fingernail and just push in a little bit to make it more of a right angle. And now I'm just trying to even it up a little bit. If your clay is really wet at this point, it'll kind of want to flop in, so you'll have to be really careful. You might be able to see there's a little break right there, so I kind of asked the clay to bend a little too much. Try to compress that a little bit. And I've got a little water in there, so I'm going to get that out. Alright, one last thing to do before I take this off. I want to make sure that I have an accurate measurement. So 2.5 inches, which is okay. It's not what I really wanted, but it'll work for this exercise. The last things is I would just trim it up, and then I would end up cutting it off, and then we'll be set. So if I'm making a series of these, I'm gonna aim for that 2.5 inch mark the whole time. I also want to know how wide the actual body is. So the small opening's 2.5 inches. This big opening is 3.5 inches. So that's really important. And then we'll end up using a pair of calipers to help us with the rest of it. So now onward to lids.